Hello and welcome to Deliberately Creative. I'm Stephanie and I'd like to welcome you to episode 49 of Doodle Gems. This time we are doing something a little bit different. We're going to do a freeform fantasy gem that is set in a peacock feather. And I think you're going to really love this project. So come on with me and let's get started. Welcome. I am really excited to share this with you. I was playing with some ideas for gems. We're coming down to the end of our first full year of Doodle Gems, and I wanted to do something a little bit special with you this time. So we are going to do sort of a free form gem, and this gem is actually shaped kind of like a jelly bean or maybe a kidney bean, more jelly bean, I think. And it is in the purple amethyst range of colors. So I'm starting off with violet, which is basically more my mid-tone to darkest tone. I will be using black on this gem also. And I will be using the lavender and some indigo blue. Once we're done with the gem, we will be doing a peacock feather doodle around it. But to start off with, we're going to get this gem in. And this is definitely a fantasy gem. It is not the way an amethyst would normally grow. Amethysts grow as crystals that have very strong structure to them. And they're a type of quartz. I have done other videos on amethysts, so you are more than welcome to check those out also. Like I said, this is a fantasy. I'm making it up as I go along. Mostly because I want this to end up being the dark eye on the peacock feather that we're going to draw. But I wanted a gem for that eye. Now I'm doing varying pressures of the pencil, but I'm not pressing really hard in any one spot. I'm leaving a highlight up around this edge here, just to give me some of that dimension. There will be white in this also, and actually I think I'm going to grab the white and put that in. Oh, my white had a little bit of blue on it. That's okay. I should have cleaned it before I picked it up. But since this is a peacock feather, there can be a little bit of color in some of those spots. I'm going to grab the lavender and put some of that down in the ends like this. And up along the edge of that highlight on the bottom side of it, where the light would be glowing through. And I'm even going to bring a bit of it down below the edge of the gem, as if light were glowing through there also. I am going to grab that indigo blue and work that in along the back edge where my fantasy gem is actually the darkest. And right up against that highlight. Kind of interesting how this one is growing. It's amazing, but most things work out when you get the highlights on. So now I'm taking my violet again, right over that indigo blue. And you see how I'm leaving that high highlight, but I'm going ahead and bringing in more of that dark again. And I don't normally use black on my gems, but because this is a peacock feather eye, they usually have some type of black outlining in them. So I'm going to work a bit of black along that darkest edge. And now I want to go ahead and do my colorless blender. I'm going to start on this bright end here and work my way up towards those other colors. There we go. I don't want to get into the black yet because I don't want to gray out or muddy my colors. That black is more just as an accent right at the very edge. So once I'm sure I'm done with blending in this color around here, and if I go a little bit out, I'm not worried. There's going to be a lot of color around this, but the feather will be flat and this gem will be raised. I don't want to run my hand across it. Now I will go ahead and just feather that edge of the black up onto the gem. Just a bit, not too much. Just around those edges. And I think all right, so I want to get a bit of a glow right down here in these ends. So before we put our pen highlight on, I want to kind of glow this up just a little bit. And I think to get that to be a brighter glow, I am actually going to bring in a touch of the mulberry. Let's see if that makes it. Oh yes. Touch of mulberry. Right down in that little bend, because then when I bring the white over that, so I'm making this up as I go along. This is an experimental gem. And I hope that you're enjoying this. Please click that subscribe button if you're enjoying this so that you can be notified when new videos go up. I am doing all kinds of different videos. I have almost 60 doodle gems. There's 49 official episodes at this moment. Soon to be 52. And then I am going to stop the weekly episodes, but there will still be a monthly birthstone being done all through this year. We're going to get a little bit of a highlight back here also. So how's that? And I'm exploring all kinds of different art and crafts. So I hope you hang out with me through this coming year. It's going to be a year of a lot of exploration, a lot of fun, exciting things. So now we're going to go ahead and get started on that feather. And I am going to put this in such a way that it could be a coloring sheet. If you wanted to just draw this little shape and then draw around it, just like this. Oh, here, let me get some of those crumbs out of the way. This part right here would be called the eye of the peacock feather. And then you would have parts coming around it. But first, I think I'm going to come down 1, 2, 3, about 3 dots, about a ½ inch apart. There's going to be some layers of coloring going through here, but I want to get sort of the spine or shaft laid in. So this would be the spine or the shaft of the feather. And it goes up towards that point right there where the gem is sort of bent. It's pointing right at that. Then, right at the top of this, I am going to have basically little dashed lines making sort of a flat space right below that eye. And then I will take these little dashed lines up, out, and back over the eye. This is going to be the delineation of one of the colors. Then, starting a little ways down, I will do some more dashed lines going out. And the reason why I'm doing dashed lines instead of hard lines right now is I'm not quite sure how I want the ends of my feathers to look, the ends of all those little feathery filaments. And I want to just get the idea of where they're going to be. And truthfully, I want to go ahead and get some of my feather bits drawn in. And these are clumps of the feather filaments. If you've ever looked at a peacock feather, they tend to separate into clumps of feathers. They're not, let's see, let's go this way since I'm pushing forward. There we go. They're not well organized. And sometimes they'll cross. You know, that's part of the doodle here, is how do I want to put these on in pretty little clumps. And this peacock may have had seen, you know, a bit of some tussles in his life. He may have some tattered feathers. It's kind of fun to imagine that. Peacocks are not the nicest of birds that I've ever encountered. they can be kind of fierce. So I think I will go ahead and draw on some of my long filaments that are going to be coming through. The eye of the feather and these bits out here all go together to make the whole feather. They all go together to make that feather. And I'm just giving some indications here, because a lot of this I want to put in with color this time. I'm actually going to color this feather. There we go. So if you look at that, we've got this fun, wild-looking feather. Now we're going to go ahead and start putting in some of those colors. And to save a little bit of some light in this feather, I am actually going to put kind of a triangle of color coming straight down from the tip. And the color is white, so you're not going to see it very well. It's just there, and it's there to help us maintain a bit of lightness for this feather. I'm going to do it around that first color circle around the eye also, and right along the inside of my dashed line. There we go. And now this feather has a wide variety of colors. So I will start off with this electric blue and put some of that right up at the base of the gem and just a little bit down from it, leaving sort of a small white outline. And I don't mind if I have some streaky lines to this. That's a little bit bright. Bring that color down just a bit. Bring that brightness down just a bit so that you can see these colors better. So that electric blue is right there. And I'm going to put a tiny bit of the electric blue along the top. And right into that white right over the top. So it will actually pale out, but it will be there. Top of the gem. It's just getting a little line of electric blue all the way around. Then I am going to take the Aquamarine and I am going to color that in and have it blend right up into that electric blue. And what that does is that it helps that electric blue actually become like a highlight. And if you pay attention to how the feather grows, this is the center, and it grows out from the shaft. So I'll even pull a little bit of that Aquamarine down, and I'm going to have a bit of it just start darkening up a little tiny bit right around the edge where that dashed line is. We will be camouflaging that line. just a bit. And the way we're going to do that is we will be taking the black and putting little black feather lines right around there. And it's even going to come through that white and then become more feather lines on the other side. If you look at peacock feathers, those eyes and bright colorations on the male feathers are part of their mating and the way they show dominance over other males. The ones that have the best feathers get the best mates or mate the most often. So they put on quite a show. Now I am actually going to take the goldenrod, and I am going to take goldenrod in around the outside of this black line. And I'm going to try not to color into that black line too much. I will draw down into it, but I won't color back and forth. Because if you color back and forth into it, you will end up with kind of a murky gray color because of that black. You don't want that to happen. And there we go. We're just going to color right around. Right up into that area where we left it white. And if you see where we're running into the white colors, we're getting some highlights. Isn't that looking pretty? So now I want a bit of a brighter tone to this. So I'm going to take the Spanish orange. And I'm going to bring it right into this sparkly spot right there in the center. And I'm going to draw it down in to the goldenrod. But I'm keeping away from the black with this. I'm trying to keep this nice and bright. Wow, this is becoming quite a long video. I'm sorry about that. I hope you don't mind watching this coloring process going on. I'm going to go ahead and grab the Colorless blender, because even though these feathers are individual filaments and they wouldn't be a solid blended color, I still want to make it so that the feathers are all going the same direction. And one of the ways to do that is with this Colorless blender. Or if you're doing it with a Crayola, I would use the white. And now I'm going to come right against the edge of that black, and I am going to pull it out into my orange. But just a flick. Just a flick. I'm not coloring back and forth. And you see how it's making that color just blend up in? Just like a regular, real peacock feather. Because those colors blend on their edges. And this one I'm going to pull it up into the turquoise now. Just a bit. To give it a little bit more definition. And then pull down. If I can't pull up into the turquoise, I'll pull down into it. There. Look at that. All right. So right around that outside edge, it goes back to being almost a, I don't want to do purple. Maybe I'll do the indigo blue. Do the indigo blue right around that edge, because if it goes to a green color, that's okay. Where the blue and the Spanish orange go across, because Spanish orange is actually very yellow. And then I'm going to bring that up along some of those pieces of feathers and start working some of the color out. And now these are not all separated out down here at the base yet. There's actually color coming up from this stem, from the shaft. Not every spot that has been drawn with a pen, they're not the only spots of color and where these feathers are coming up. Those are just some of the ones that I wanted to make sure and accentuate. So just because it looks like there's a gap, you're not limited. You can fill in those gaps with as much color or as little color as you wish. Sometimes having these drawings being partially colored is actually more effective than the ones that are completely colored in. By getting them partially colored, you leave a little bit of room for the person who's viewing to finish the picture. And it makes them part of the experience. So do as much or as little as you wish. I want some more right over here, where this eye and the end of the feather were a little separated. See, look at that. That's a lot of fun. I want a little bit more coming off this way. You'll find that one direction will be easier for you to pull curls. But you can get soft flowing off edges, even if it's not the side that you're most comfortable with. Now all of that was drawn in with the indigo blue, but now I want to bring in a bit of spring green. I want to pull some of that back in right down along the orange, the Spanish orange. And down into some of that indigo blue. And there's going to be a few pieces of that bright green coming up. Remember, this is a fantasy. This is my fantasy peacock feather. So it can have amazing colors in surprising locations. So make sure that you're doing yours with your own amazing combination of colors and your own special surprising locations for those colors. Look at that. Loving that spring green pop. And then I want a little bit over here. And then I think that some of that is actually going to be right along these parts of the feathers. And if I end up with some black and white out at the tips, I'm good with that. I'm going to turn this. Sometimes turning will help you be able to pull your line more easily. Pull the curve of a line. Get your whole hand and arm moving that color. And you just pull those lines along. And remember, you are not limited by the little black line that you've drawn. You can add extra little spots where the feathers are not as defined by a black pen. Go outside those lines. Make it feel more comfortable to you. Look at that. Wow. Okay, that is really, really, really bright green. I love it. I'm going to take some of that aquamarine in there and start down into that bright green and sort of pull up through it. Because then I end up with 3, 4, 5 different tones of green. I'm not coloring every single bit of that bright green in. I like this. This is great. This is so much fun. It's like flowing through. I do want to get some of that color out there on that tip, just because that's what I want. It doesn't have to be done that way for you. Rotate here. I want a little bit of that aquamarine in its own stripe there, and then up. Just enjoy the process. Color, doodle. This is almost abstract, but not quite. It's a simple way to free up your hand. Let your eye look at color and choose things that make you happy. Wow. All right, guys, here we are. The peacock feather with a fantasy gem. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope that you go out, try it, do something fun. I'm just taking some of that mulberry right down in here and coloring the shaft. I could keep throwing colors in here all day long, but I need to get this video edited for you. So please find your pencils, find some quiet time for yourself, enjoy the process. If it doesn't turn out the way you expect it the first time, just do another one. Do something for yourself. Get out your pencils, do a little doodle, have a bit of fun, enjoy the process, go out and do something creative, take care of yourself so you can take care of those around you. Don't forget, like, comment, share, subscribe, click that bell so you'll be notified when the next video goes up, and be good. Bye-bye.